Hello and good morning to you. This is Cliff Graves from Train Well Boxing. So today's talk takes on a little bit of a different turning. I want to talk about what I heard a confirmed unbeliever, scientist, evolutionist claiming because it was a he considered that the ancient scribes of the Bible were on some format of hallucinogenic, now got it now, drugs. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they were smoking the poppy seed? Does that mean that marijuana was around? Don't forget, we're talking about in the Middle East, okay? And we're talking about then it would have been a lot of desert land. Because from the Bible, they show Israel as not as it is now. So there would have been a lot of areas that were very, very, very arid and desert land, which I don't know, the climate needed to grow poppy seeds, to grow poppies for cultivation into heroin, and then to be smoked in somehow, I don't know how they do it, to become high and into an altered state of consciousness. I don't believe a word of it. What I can tell you is all of the ancient scribes that were throughout the Old Testament and also throughout the New Testament were very, very holy living people. They had been chosen by God for a specific purpose. So I think it highly, highly unlikely. But if we sort of like kick it off, say like with Genesis, and say, well, who wrote Genesis? Well, we don't know. I think it could be fair to say that there was a lot of inclusions from Moses. A lot. There would have been a lot of input, I believe, from John. You know, and the like. But the answer is we don't know. But for example, we understand that Moses would, like Jesus did, would go out into the mountains, high up into the mountains. And you're talking like Ben Nevis type, high, really high. And would go on a dry fast, so no water, nothing to eat, for long periods of time. Whereby he would go into a meditative state but connected to the Creator and gain spiritual insight. It was a gift he had. I hope you got your coffee like me. I just come in from walking the dog. It was a spiritual gift of insight that he had, that not even he could fathom out and understand. So there was a lot of insight that Moses received from God. Now, I don't know if you've ever done meditation before. Well, as when I became a Christian, I sort of like stopped all that because I found it was opening me up to the wrong type of influences. Now, Moses and John and all the rest of it, different. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that it can alter your state of consciousness, meditation. And you don't need any hallucinogenic drugs in there whatsoever. And because this was from God, was from the Creator, I doubt it very, very much whether any of the ancient scribes indulged in that type of activity. They had a heightened state of awareness and faith that any of us could achieve, but probably because of modern living wouldn't. But can you imagine when they went off to pray, contemplate and view, there would have been no aeroplanes going over ahead. There would be no motor vehicles on roads passing by. There would have been no street lights. There would have been darkness, the stars, and Moses. And of course, the Creator, God. So the answer to that is no, no way. I think it would be freely admitted and encouraged in the Bible to partake in the pipe. You know what I mean? Smoking poppy seeds, opium, and pure opium at that, if it was around 6,000 years ago. If I doubt it. Highly doubt it. This is the thrust block of the unbeliever. And it's a tragedy, it's a great tragedy, because normally it is scientists who have an affirmative belief in evolution. And it is such a tragedy because some of those are so bright and articulate. Probably a lot of them are members of Mensa. So certainly on an academic level, they've got me beat. They've got me beat. But on a faith level, they can't even hold the candle to the likes of me, because they evidently have zero faith. They are attempting to rationalize everything. And yet, I challenge you to next time you're up against a scientist or an unbeliever evolutionist, I challenge you to ask them, well, can you respond to my clear, concise question in one clear, concise answer? Well, shoot. What was the divine spark of life? I don't want a war and peace bit of it. I want you to give me, because you know, the answer, which you should be able to do in a quick, clear, concise sentence. Shouldn't you? Oh, the divine spark of life, in fact, was the Big Bang. Question answered. But they can't. But they won't. They can't. They can't. Do you know why they can't? Because to have somethingness out of nothingness, you have to call it creation, not evolution. Evolution is where you're changing species, and that is as far away as from the east is from the west, from the north is from the south. It's got no bearing whatsoever. The word evolution should be thrust out, expelled from our lexicon, because it doesn't exist. And they can't answer the question. But neither can we. What we say is we believe in creation, and we believe in a God, Yahweh, and we believe that God's account in Genesis is what started creation. We have a faith, in other words. But was we there? No. 8,000 years ago, maybe at the most 10. But I think 10 is getting into an old earth. So I'm saying about 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, we wasn't there. So we don't know. We don't know. So if we don't know, can we throw around these false statements? Because we don't know, do we? Some will mock and say, cool, I wish I heard some of that. Oh, I wish I had some of that, whatever they were smoking. Well, go and get some heroin then. And smoke, chasing the dragon or whatever it is. That's all you've got to do. It would have blown your socks off. Stop being prats. Grow up, idiots. There are some things which we can understand as better described as fourth dimensional, which we'll never get our heads around. The question is, okay then. This is how they think they're being clever. They go, okay then. Right. No, hold on a minute. You say, hold on. So you believe all this creation malarkey, do you, mate? I do, yeah. So who created God then? Again, we don't know. And the reason we don't know is because that is fourth dimensional stuff. Take the most highest, what do you call them? Person, if you want it, within Mensa. The most intelligent that would make Thomas Edison look a wanker, make all of them, Charles Darwin, look like he's from infant school, kindergarten, the most intelligent. Well, they haven't got the answers because their mind is only adept to absorb three-dimensional stuff. The fourth dimensional stuff is completely closed. This is how these ancient scribes were able to get to the edge of it, but not into it. Because not even Jesus, who is part of the Godhead, for instance, knows when he's going to return. Only the Godhead, Yahweh, knows that. And what is the Godhead? Where is the Godhead? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Where is Yahweh? Who is Yahweh? Well, we know that Yahweh became manifest as Jesus Christ, don't we? We know that, but I'm perplexed. I'm confused. I don't understand. It's because you're not supposed to understand. Not even Jesus knows when he's going to return. He said, I'm going to return on the 27th of October 2031. Which is not a prediction. He's just flipping something out. top of my head. I don't know. And neither do I want to know. Because it's fourth dimensional stuff. So I hope that puts to bed all this stupid, inane, puerile, dumb as fuck thing of they all were I. No way. They were handpicked by God because of their either potential to become highly spiritual or already. Most of them were misfits that God chose. David, Moses. To name a few. You see, I'm just going to leave you with this because I don't want this to go any longer than half an hour, right? In the Bible, it says we must have faith as small as a mustard seed. If we've got faith as small as a mustard seed, oh boy, I'll just say you are blessed. Oh boy, well done. Like a little grain of a mustard seed. What do mustard seeds do? Look at, I think it was in Matthew. It writes about the woman with the blood issue. And she pushed all through the crowds to get to speak to Jesus. And all she wanted to do, she grabbed it and she said, I ain't stopping. I don't care if I drop it down, quote it dead. I don't care if I'm stoned to death. I'm getting to you, Jesus. I'm getting to you. I am getting to you. And she grabbed the edge of his robe. And he said, who touched me? Well, she was healed instantaneously. Instantaneously. And you might think, I don't believe all that. Well, it's faith that you've got to have. Because you could say the same about King Harold in 1066 being shot through the arrow. Was you there? No. Archaeological dibs, they say, isotaping and all that. Look, at the end of the day, right, I've spoken about this before in other videos, okay? It comes down to faith. Faith in the unknown. Faith in the unknown. And the moral of that passage was, even if you get to the edge of Jesus, it's all it takes. It's all it takes. Oh, to be an on-fire Christian all your life until you take your last croak of air. Oh boy, you're going to be exalted in the new heavens and the new earth. Yes, yes. But Jesus came for the unchurched, like I was, a wretch like me. Came for the unchurched. And what he's saying is all it needs is just to grab the edge. Get hold of the edge. The faith you need, the size of a little mustard seed, is all is required, because it will grow. It will grow and it will grow and it will grow. So there you have it, folks. I don't believe a word of this childish dribble that some of these idiots come up with. Oh, he must have been all smoking hallucinogenic. Where did you learn that from? Who told you that? Where did you hear that from? Where did you hear that from? Oh, it's common knowledge. It happened. It happened. How do you know? Well, that's just common knowledge, isn't it? It happened. Of course it happened. Of course it happened. Was you there? How do you know? So, yeah. As Christians, we will have to take on all these fiery darts coming at us from the enemy. Satan uses his foot soldiers. Yeah. Satan uses his foot soldiers. Oh, yeah. To try and upset the apple cart, as it were. Try and get under your skin. Try and question your faith. Try and question your faith. But I said this in the last video. I'm just going to say it just to refresh your memory. So you ask them, well, what was the divine spark of life? Can you answer me that, Mr. Scientist? They won't be able to. Oh, so was you there 3,000 years ago? We all know the answer to that. And finally, this. Look, if I'm wrong and you're right, at the point of my death, what have I lost? You just say, I'll just go into this darkness. That's it, finished. All gone. Finished, done and dusted, over. That's what the scientist is saying. Finished. However, what if I'm right and you're wrong? Mr. Scientist, what then? You have an eternity of, I can't even imagine what it would be like. But you'll be where the enemy is, Satan, bound up. I can't even imagine why anybody would play Russian roulette with their eternity on the basis of some stupid belief of evolution, or some stupid belief that the ancient scribes of the Bible smoked cannabis or smoked the poppy seed or whatever was about. Probably nothing. It's a stupid, silly, inane, childish thing to say and to think. Okay, so I hope this drops into the laps of the scientists, and let's just see how brave you are in coming forward and answering my one question. What was the divine spark of life? Can you answer that question in a clear, concise answer as I've posed the question? This is Cliff Graves from Troma Boxing. Take it easy, ciao.